The Society for Intercultural Education, Training and Research of British Columbia proudly presents My Perspective, My Voice, a video series that highlights the various experiences of different people in marginalized communities.
Hi, my name is Camille Rambarat. I'm from the beautiful, sunny, hot Caribbean, more specifically Trinidad and Tobago. I migrated with my husband and my 3 children 13 years ago, and I've always loved Canada from age 16, visiting my grandma in Toronto for the first time, and it was definitely love at first sight. I came here instead of the US where my other siblings are because I didn't like certain things in the US, and I felt here was nicer, and it is, weather included. When we just migrated, so Trinidad and Tobago, we only speak English, or we call Trini English or the Queen's English, but it's only English and everyone can understand us. For me, one of the challenges when I applied for work, for jobs, and I was being interviewed, I would always be asked, so what's your first language? And when I say English, no, but what's your first language? And I'm like, English. I want you to know that discrimination or biases isn't really one group of people. I just want to make that clear. And I think we all have to be in that place of learning. So people would go up to my husband, who were brown and immigrants, and speak in Hindi or Punjabi, and he would say, no, I only speak English. And they would be offended because they felt he was somehow ashamed of his culture. The color of my skin doesn't mean I came from a poor country. The color of my skin doesn't mean when I say to you I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, you ask exactly where Africa is. I don't need to be judged the way I wear my hair or my complexion, my race. I'm a human being with we all have different shades. So it's really from being followed at some stores. At the beginning, I tried to be polite and really Canadian and not be bothered by it. I'm bigger than that. But once it happens, it's continuous. And so now I would usually say if it's security, I would be like, can I help you? Right? No, or they would peep from the other aisle. I went in to view this townhouse. Really, they had 3 different price range. So I went in and I said hi. And the young lady who approached me, the agent, she showed me, and I said, oh, can I see this one? Which was the bigger and of course more expensive. She said, oh, you can't afford it. I think this is the better one you want to see. And I'm like, no, I want to see this one. Yeah, please. And she seemed bothered by it, like I was wasting her time. And I didn't purchase it. And where I live now, it costs even more. So she lost the sale only because of stereotyping. And my children have gone through that being in school, my daughter especially, Black female. I literally had a teacher say to me, she's not as smart as she seems to be. This is an all A's kid who would accidentally mark her down. And every time I go into school, I would have to question it, and there was always, oh, it's an error. The worst we have had to deal with was my son, who loved his job, and he would just be told the most inhumane things, like when he just started and he needed to put on the construction boots, the owner of the company said, bring your monkey feet, let me see if these shoes can fit you. And we have this thing, we would laugh at home, we'll be like, you hear it and you go, did that just say that? I think for Black people, we always have to okay, that's ignorance. Let me pretend I didn't hear that, because I am the minority and I need the job. So you have to take a lot. It came to a point, so it was the white owner who had an adopted daughter from Africa, because that's the only place black people come from, would say to my son, oh my gosh, so how many packs of weave does your sister wear? And my son said, he kept asking, like, why would you ask? Oh my God, you know, my daughter from Africa that we adopted, it's so much money, she always have to put weave in. Things like that, stereotyping, people wanting to touch my hair. I recently explained to someone the reason why black people, black women especially, when you touch our hair, we flinch. And it took a while. We had no idea. Like growing up, my mom would say, don't let anyone put their hands in your hair, don't touch it. Never explained. Only to realize from my history and my ancestors, it's because we were kept in zoos, we were pets. We were pets. So if you Google, you would see where we were held in cages and people would, you know, touch. So it's just, now you go like, no, don't touch my hair. And why would you do it? Have I ever touched your hair? It takes everyone to learn and people not be offended if I call you out on something. And I've had to call out people, whether it was on my race or someone else's, I would go to them and say, okay, while that may have been funny, that's racist, right? Like you can't say that, and I would explain. And I think we just have to teach each other and really be accepting. I wish people would ask me, where did you get Macmillan from? Because do you know that's Scottish? And I go, yeah. But actually, Macmillan is my slave name. It would be the people who owned my ancestors. So I don't have that. Whereas my husband is Rambarat, he can tell you exactly which village and the meaning of his name. I don't have that. So usually I would, you know, at interviews, I go along and I say, yeah, it's Scottish. But now I really explain it to people to teach people the meaning. So I wish people didn't ask me that. I wish if people didn't ask, so where in Africa is Trinidad and Tobago? I wish people didn't ask me, so what other language other than Trinidad? I wish people didn't tell me during summertime, look, I'm just as dark as you. I don't say during the winter, look, I'm lighting up like you. Like, why? Why would you say that? What surprised me is Canada's race problem. I really didn't believe it existed. I moved to Canada because of, you know, we are all one, it's a melting pot compared to the US. What I realized, Canada's racism is dangerous. It doesn't exist, right? But it does. And it's always, well, we aren't like, you know, the US, which is dangerous because you're pretending something doesn't exist instead of acknowledging, apologizing, and we can all move forward. I went through a really traumatic experience, and if anyone said to me, this will happen to you in Canada, I'd be like, no way, you're just a hater. So it had to do with being a Black person in the workplace, being bullied, harassed, and not supported. People didn't understand or refused to understand. It was just like, well, yeah, let's move on. So I just got to that point that I have to speak up. I have to speak up. I have to speak out without fear or favor, because again, if we don't acknowledge our wrongs, it will just continue going, and it's exhausting, and it's something I don't want anyone, regardless of race, color, creed, class, to ever, especially the next generation, to have to go through anything as close as I have experienced. We are all one. We are not asking to be treated special. The minimum as a human being, the minimum, like that's all. And I think people get so offended by not wanting to acknowledge true history. If history wasn't hidden and was biased to one group of people, we would not be in this situation. Only then you could have said to me, we are all human beings. When I just came here, I got involved with First Nations facilitating. So I learned so much and but when they did their circle and so many things I was involved with, I would just get so emotional. I would just want to cry. Like I just felt a part of it, the spirituality part of it, and I never understood. Like right now, I'm speaking about it, I'm getting emotional. Only to realize as First Peoples, there's a connection. Don't overscience it. Don't hire me to be the black face of your company. Hire me because I'm qualified, I'm certified, I fit, right, as a human being and not as a token. And again, not just for me, but for other people, black and brown people and indigenous people. Then you see all these companies, you know, they spend millions on ads speaking about inclusion. We see them turn their Facebook pages all black. Stop it. It is no longer I want to see. Beyond that, we need to see tangible things and stop recycling stuff. Where black, brown, and indigenous people on your boards. CETA is beautiful, right? There isn't anything or anyone missing from CETA's board, and that's what I loved about being on the board. And we learn from each other and support each other, which is amazing. I hope CETA keeps me for a while. Just be kind. Just be kind. The next generation is looking at us, and we are passing on some nasty traits to them, and we really could do better. We have to.
Thank you to the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, the Courageous Storytellers, the CETAR Board, and Vancouver Community College for helping make this project become a reality. Curated by Anu Pala and Tanya Cowie. Filmed and edited by Tejita Gupta.